Now that you know how to analyze your result using the appropriate statistical tests and how to present your data using the appropriate graphs and tables, it is time to learn how to write your results and discussion sessions. Do you combine or separate the results and discussion section? Well, the format depends on the journal that you are submitting your paper to. If the results and discussion are combined, you can still categorize that section into subsections depending on the type of results that's being discussed. You can describe the trends that's being observed, that is the results, and discuss its significance under each of these subsections. How do you write an effective results section? First, the purpose of this section is to present and illustrate your findings. It should be an objective report of the results. You should summarize your findings in text and illustrate them, if appropriate, with figures and tables. In the text, you should describe each of your results, pointing the reader to observations that are most relevant. Provide a context, such as by describing the question that was addressed by making a particular observation. Describe the results of controlled experiment and include observations that are not presented in the formal figure or table if it's appropriate. Analyze your data and then prepare the analyzed data in the form of a figure, such as a graph, table, or in text form. Always remember that you should not present raw data. The data should be in a format that is easily understood, and you have to refer to them in your text. What do you avoid writing in the results section? If your results section is separated from your discussion section, then you do not want to discuss the finding, report background information, or attempt to explain anything. However, if it is together, combined, then you can make the discussion of significant findings after showing your results. Remember never to include raw data or intermediate calculation in the research paper. If you want to, these raw data can be included in the appendix if it's necessary. Do not present the same data more than once. Text should complement any figures or tables, but should not repeat the same information. And do not confuse figures with tables. There is a difference. We have already discussed that in previous session. How to write an effective discussion section. State the major findings of the study if the result section is separated from the discussion section. You can explain the meaning and significance of your findings. Relate these findings to those of similar studies. Consider alternative explanations of the findings if you know. State the relevance of your findings and acknowledge the study's limitation. Make suggestions for further research. You can also give the take-home message in the form of a conclusion at the end. What to avoid in your writing your discussion. Avoid over-interpretation of your results. And avoid unwarranted speculation without evidence. Avoid inflating the importance of the findings. Avoid dwelling on tangential issues. And avoid conclusions that are not supported by your data. This is an example paper with the results and discussion being combined together in the same section. Look at this paper and identify the following elements. When do they refer to data in the figure or table? When do they compare existing studies to show both consistent and conflicting findings? Where do they explain conflicting results? And where do they highlight and explain significant results? You can pause the video and identify these elements in this particular paper. This is a sample conclusion in the paper. What are the elements that is included in this conclusion? Pause the video and identify and summarize them. As one of the in-class activity, you have measured the waist-hip ratio of your class as well as record down your class, the respective gender as well as physical activity time of each individual. Now, let us look at this particular study using these data that you have collected in class. The title of the study is to characterize the waist-hip ratio in DFST students and correlation with physical activity time. With this title in mind, what is the objective of the study? What are the data being collected? What kind of statistical tests will you use to analyze the data and why? What kind of trends do you observe from the results? Discuss the significance of these trends. Are they consistent with existing studies out there? What conclusion can you draw from the results? And what are possible future studies? For this particular activity, it is related to your FYP topic. You can select a research paper related to your FYP topic. Identify the statistical analysis methods that are used in the paper and explain why they are suitable. Identify the following elements in the paper. Where do they refer to data in table and figures? Where do they compare with existing studies to show both consistent and conflicting findings, if any? Where do they explain conflicting results? Where do they highlight and explain significant results? In your own words, state the results from the paper in point form. State which table or graph or data was used in support of each of these points that you have stated. Write a concluding statement for the paper in your own words. What are useful phrases that you can learn from this paper that can be used